Hi everyone, today I'm here with a review of a beautiful triangular tarot deck which I received from my good friend Julia. She is the creator of this deck. It is a limited edition deck and it's not currently available for wide scale commercial purchase. She was kind enough to send me this as a gift, and I was just blown away with the depth of the readings which we get from this deck, especially when it comes to our emotions and the way we think and how we are progressing with the thought process, and which might lead to action. Okay, our thought process usually leads to action, correct? So this deck sort of draws you in more and more, layer by layer, and the more you look at the cards, the more you're pulled in to get more information, and your intuition sort of opens up. And rightfully so, because this tarot deck is called the Moon People Tarot Deck. Moon is usually a representative of deep intuition and emotions. So this deck has the energy of the moon, and this is the little white book for the deck. This deck is based on the Rider-Waite-Smith's 78 card tarot reading system, and yeah, it's very helpful if you know the Rider-Waite system beforehand, because this deck builds on top of the Rider-Waite systems. I'll show you the imagery on the deck, on the box. It's so pleasant. It's a triangle deck. This is the first time I'm seeing a triangular deck. I've seen hexagonal, circular, rectangular, of course, and square also. But this is the first time that I'm coming across a triangular deck. I thought the shape was extremely interesting. This is the guidebook. And I'll open this later. I will just open the guidebook and just do a flip through of the guidebook first. This is a very concise guidebook, and it talks to the point. That's what I liked about this guidebook. And this, as I told you, the deck is called the Moon People Tarot Deck, and this also has major arcana and 4 minor arcana suits, and also the 21 standard 21 cards of the major arcana and the rest of the minor arcana. And here you will find the introduction and the basic idea of this deck. I will read a few lines from this. The Polynesians have navigated the seas in part by observing the shape of the waves, which would indicate the presence and location of a land nearby. The early astronomers knew of unseen planets because of the effects they had on the seen planets. Our planet's moon affects the tides and keeps the tilt of the earth steady, allowing for our existence. Some cone-bearing trees need wildfires to open the cones and release the seeds. Certain bacteria is needed in our guts for us to remain healthy. As above, so below. As in the large, so in the small. Things are connected, and out ripples from their existence and interact with other ripples. The moon is the symbol in this deck for the way our connectedness is influenced, sometimes by things seen, sometimes by things unseen. Sometimes these connections are in a period of change. The concentric circles are the ripples of forces around us. 3 is the non binary nature of the world. The main concern of this deck is the cards' interactions, influences upon each other in a spread. The imagery is meant to be symbolic of core ideas, situations, and essences. The major arcana, the themes of life, display 3 aspects of the moon full. The seen influence, new full moon is the seen influence, new moon is the unseen influence, crescent is is the time of change. The symbols and images on the major arcana cards have been identified here as notes and memory allow. At times while creating the card, things happened, ideas came, and they were left on the cards in trust of the subconscious. As I said, this deck builds on the Rider-Waite-Smith, and here is the description of the card. and here the moon phases, and the moon phases are explained for all the major arcana cards, and the meanings of the moon phases change with the cards. Every single card has its own meaning of a moon phase. So for the Fool, as you can see, full, when the moon is full, okay, what is seen, looked for, and moved towards. And when it's waxing or waning, the crescent, the warnings, what can hold us back, and the new moon, the dangers, problems, and the unseen results. So now when we go to another card, so I'll pick some other card. So say Lovers. The full moon is facing and looking at each other. See, these two people are looking at each other, and the crescent is looking forward. They are working towards with each other and looking forwards, and with the new moon looking away, fighting, or have each other's back. See, they are not facing each other, they are looking away. So whatever connects to the next cards, like here in this sample spreads, can you see this? You can join these cards like this, and the tips which connect to the moon phase, whether it's waxing, waning, new, and how these moon tips, when they are put together, affect the central card or the theme of this card and this card. This can be interpreted. The meanings of the cards can be interpreted with the interactions of the moon, and that is the connectedness that this deck speaks about, that everything is connected, everybody is connected. And the ripples, can you see the ripples here? The dark one, and then it becomes lighter and lighter, and then it changes shades and it goes through. So this is the connectedness. So this is the main influence, and how that main influence is sending out ripples throughout. So this let me do a flip through of each and every card. This is a basic idea which I read out from. I hope I did a decent job with that. And then this is the Fool card, the High Priestess, Empress, and I love how soothing the color scheme of every card is. The Emperor, and also there is a key word here. For the Emperor, it's responsibility. For High Priestess, it is intuition and things like that. Hierophant, learning and knowledge. Lovers, Chariot. Strength, Hermit. Wheel of Fortune, Justice, Hanged Man. Here, interestingly, the Hangman says traitor. This is a horrible torture taken out of the presence of others and hung by the feet. So it slightly differs from the traditional meaning of the card Death. Temperance, Manipulation, sorry, it's the Devil card which says Manipulation. Tower, Moral Trauma, and she brings out the inner meanings from the Rider-Waite-Smith's card meanings. Usually the core meaning of each card is summarized into these taglines of each card, and this is how probably Rider-Waite-Smith's cards resonate with Julia, and that's why she puts these taglines here with these cards. That's my assumption. I could be wrong. I should ask her about this. Moon, cognitive dissonance, sorry. Sun, nostalgia. Judgment, inevitable. World, the connectedness. So this ends the major arcana, and the minor arcana, which are the four suits of wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. So I'll just read from this page. The minor arcana, the plot devices, have a single phase of the moon in its cycle. As events unfold, the influence forces outside become stronger and the ripples become more pronounced. The moon and the story complete a cycle. The cycle can move forward or backward. A cycle can be abandoned. The cycle is the only norm, not the rule. As the minor arcana moves through its narrative, the moon cycles through new to full, and back to new. The circles grow in number as the influence of things around the cards makes themselves known and becomes more evident. Crescent and half moons can be waxing or waning or warning. Or I think it's waning. So the suit of wands, these are the 10 cards. Suit of swords, 10 cards, and the face cards, 14 cards. Cup of water, these are the 14 cards. The pentacles, the 14 cards, and each ace through 10, ace through the king of each suit is now described here as what the particular number means in each suit. Not the see, the number 7 in each suit will mean this, so number 5 in each suit will mean this. That's how this has been explained here in this book. So for example, knight, say, whether it's the wands, cups, pentacles, or sword suit, the one sent on a mission to find, to get, to bring back, moving through. Okay, and the knight is represented in red color in all the suits. The page is represented in yellow color in all the suits. The king is represented in usually in the lavenderish colors, and the queen is represented in green in all the suits. Oh, and when I'm doing the flip through of the cards, I will tell you certain interesting things that I found in this deck, which is not usually seen in the Rider-Waite-Smith's decks. Okay, so now let's go into the flip through of the deck. Look at the back of the card. It is matte finish, it's not glossy, and I like that about this deck because it does not reflect a ton of light and cause a lot of disturbance when we are filming it. Glossy finish is good when you're directly viewing the cards, but when on video and with extra lights, it sort of reflects a lot of light and we lose clarity of the card. And with matte finish cards, you don't have to worry about those things. It's a triangle card, and I'll show you how to put this, how I read with these cards. Okay, so this is the Fool card. The Magician. Here the 3 faces of moon, and with each face the magician's interpretation changes depending on which side is coming up, like this. This is how I think to read the cards. Okay, so if I can put it like this, say these 3 cards, and you can build like you can build on top of this like this, or you can go sideways. It's up to you to construct how you want to construct the spread. And the influence of moon is converging here at the full moon, and this is also full moon. This is a waxing moon, so the influences here are strong, and they are more leaning more towards the positive side of the interpretation of the cards. So when I put the meanings of these 3 cards together, I will lean towards interpreting the positive side of the card meanings. And that's how I interpreted it when I read it the first time. And I did not think of it as this deep. I usually went with the Reader Waite Smith's meanings of the cards when I interpreted it the first. I have done only one reading with this, and that's how I interpreted it. And according to Julia, it was spot on. So this is how I think it should be read, and if she tells me differently, I will post another video where I will rectify the way I've interpreted, and I will tell you how to go about interpreting these cards better. And this is the Fool, this is the Magician, Empress, sorry, this is not the Empress, this is the High Priestess, this is the Empress, the Emperor, Hierophant, Lovers, Chariot, Strength, and she also sent me this, the Strength, and the Hermit, Wheel of Fortune, Justice, Hanged Man, Death, Temperance, the Devil, the Tower, the Star. I like the fact how this person is not alone and there is a companion here in this card, and there are so many cards which differs from Rider Waite Smith. That's what I like about this deck a lot. The Moon, the Sun. Love the colors on this card, so bright and beautiful. This is Justice. This is the World. That ends the 21 cards of Major Arcana. Now we come to the suit of Wands, which is represented by the fire element and hence all the bright colors, all the warm red, yellow hues. This is the Ace of Wands. This is the Two of Wands. And this is what I like about this deck. Usually there are no single people in this. Most of the suits have two or more people. Nobody feels alone in this deck except for the face cards, because they have to be represented alone. And whenever there's a chance to represent more than one person, this deck has done a beautiful job. And This deck, I think, will be more useful while doing relationship readings, because there are a lot of cards which represent many people of for a minor arcana deck, where usually traditionally there is only one person represented. In this deck you will find two people in general, and those two people are usually doing different things in the deck, so that also gives interesting spin on the reading. This is Three of Wands, Four of Wands, and I love how these two people are resting. It's not like they're partying. It's like they have done their hard work, they have put a roof over their head, and they're calling it a day and they're just resting. This interpretation of Four of Wands, which is slightly different from the traditional meaning, I really like that about this card. Five of Wands. I like this representation of Five of Wands, where all the strife and struggles, they're just given up and resting, sort of like, I don't want strife anymore, I break it. Six of Wands. Seven of Wands. And yeah, I wanted to tell you this about Six of Wands. It's more about personal evaluation than a whole bunch of people around you. It's more about your own inner world, this card. That's how I look at it. And this is what I like about this card. She has put a lot of spins of her own on the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith format, and it's beautiful. This is Eight of Wands, reaching out. Nine. Here, Nine of Wands is represented more as the Ten of Wands traditional representation, and I like that about this representation of Nine of Wands, which makes more sense to me personally. It's a nice way to represent Nine of Wands. Ten of Wands. This is the Page of Wands. The Knight of Wands. Queen of Wands. And the King of Wands. This ends the wand suit. Now let's go to the swords. Ace of Swords. Love the color combination, the color scheme of the swords. So pleasant. Two of Swords. And here again, two people are represented. Either you can interpret it as the same person with two minds, or two different people with two different perspectives on things, depending on the theme of your reading. That's what I like about this deck, that it gives you so many options to interpret the same card for different kinds of questions. If it's a relationship question, you can intuitively interpret it as two people having difference of opinions and are not looking at the same goal in the same way that they should look at. They both have different perspectives about the same thing, but they're looking at the same thing though. They're holding the same thing, but they're holding it in different ways. So the way you interpret for a relationship reading, with Two of Swords will be very different from the traditional way of interpreting this if you're doing it in a intuitive way. And this is Three of Swords. And this is such a pain-free representation of Three of Swords from the traditional RWS suit. That's what I really like about this. Four of Swords. There are people lying down. It can be many different thoughts of the same person, or actually, depending on the context of the question that you're reading for, it could be more than one person. Everybody is resting, everybody is not looking at each other, they're just giving it a break. Five of Swords. It's just this one person here, and this representation is very different from the traditional representation where there are at least three people, but here it's just one person and his swords and his information. Or it could be a he or she. Six of Swords. This is very different from the traditional representation of Six of Swords. It looks like this person is preparing for something, making the swords ready with information. The Seven of Swords. I love the representation of Eight of Swords here. It's so different from the traditional RWS deck. Nine of Swords. Again, so different from the traditional RWS representation. And the Ten of Swords. It is again very, very different from the RWS representation, which I'm really glad, especially for the sword suit. It makes it more, bearable and readable in this deck. The sword suit especially, that's what I like about this deck a lot. And this is the Page of Swords. This is the Knight of Swords, the Queen of Swords, and the King of Swords. Okay. Now we come to the Suit of Cups. Love the deeper hues of blue and the lighter blues. The Two of Cups. Here, two people. Two of Cups. Three of Cups. Four of Cups. Here, again, I like the fact that there is more than one person, even though the other person is unconscious, and one person is either extremely drunk or extremely sad or apathetic, but there is company. Probably misery has its company and the company is sleeping. I like this representation of Four of Cups. Five of Cups. Here there is only one cup standing, opposed to the traditional representation. which I think is more close to what the traditional card meaning says. This representation makes more sense to me. Six of Cups, Seven of Cups. Again, in Seven of Cups, there are two people. There is no one single person, but here is an octopus handing them cups. Eight of Cups. Like the fact that there are two people here again. The cup suit has two people. And usually, wherever there is traditionally one person represented and in a very sad state, this deck changes that narrative and it gives you more than one person. Either you can interpret it as the person, their conflicting thoughts or the thoughts which are going together, or if the context is about a relationship, then you can interpret it as two different people. And that's the dynamic that this deck brings, that the traditional RWS doesn't. And that's what I appreciate more about this deck. And I know have said this enough times, I will not repeat it anymore, I swear. Nine of Cups again here, two people. There is not just one person, there are two people. And the Ten of Cups. Yoo-hoo! The Page of Cups. The Knight of Cups. And the Queen of Cups. Last but not least, the King of Cups. This ends our cup suit. This is the suit of Pentacles. I can't get over the colors and how smoothly the combination flows in this representation of Ace of Pentacles. It's beautiful. Two of Pentacles. Here is two people. Three of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles. Here there is only one person, which changes from the traditional RWS representation. And this card brings out the deeper meaning of the RWS representation of the card. Six of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles. I like it how the one person is just not getting bored all alone. He has company, or she has company. They're all working towards something and looking forward to something. Very different from the traditional representation. Eight of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles. Ten of Pentacles. I like the fact that this card is more about work than family, as represented in the traditional deck. I think this brings out what the traditional deck wants to convey in a better way out, the imagery. That's what I like about this. I think I just change the sequence of these cards. Page of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles. Okay, so this was the flip through of this deck, and this deck has its own spin on the traditional meanings of Rider-Waite-Smith's system, and it does not copy the traditional meanings, but it brings more of the interpretations of the author's perspective of the Rider-Waite-Smith system. And she takes this suits and major arcana in her own way. She puts her own spin on it, and I think the meanings of the cards give much more depth to relationship readings, and the readings where few other people are also involved in a situation. It can also give a deeper understanding on how our psyche is working with us and against us with this deck. And also the more I look at the cards, slowly they start revealing deeper and deeper information about the question that is has been put forth. And that's what I like about this deck. It will take you a little time to get familiar with the meanings of the cards, and how it has to be interpreted, and looking at the moon phases and how you can put the moon phases together, and all those things. It will take you a little time to get used to this system, but if you have a good foundation in the RWS system of tarot deck reading, then this will be a layer on top of how you can interpret the traditional RWS system of cards. Uh, this is about the Moon People tarot deck, the flip through of the guidebook and the cards, and I think I have explained a little bit about how to interpret these cards in a spread when you put them together next to each other, and how you can arrange these cards to make more sense to you and all that stuff. If I have more updates on this, I will certainly bring them in the next video that I'll make about this deck. If I receive more information and more inputs from the author herself, then I will certainly update the information in another video. But for now, I hope you like the flip through, and if you are interested in this deck, PM me, and I can always ask her if she is willing to ship out more of these decks. And I'm sure she will look into it. She's a very busy person, so she might take time to come up with more decks, because this has been hand cut, and this book is also hand sewn and handmade and all that stuff. So it has taken her some time to prepare every deck to ship it out. So if you are interested, PM me so that I can ask her, and if she allows me to put her email ID in the description box, I will do that, so that you can contact her directly and get in touch with her to buy this deck from her directly. Thank you very much for watching. And if you think some of your friends or anybody you know might be interested in this deck, please spread the word, so that this deck gains the popularity that it deserves. And this is a very useful deck. I can tell right off the bat from just one reading that I'm extremely satisfied with the card quality, the depth of the meaning that the card brings, every single card in this deck, and such a beautiful deck, just very pleasant to look at, the colors and everything. And so with this, I end the video, and I hope to see you in my next videos. Thank you for your continued support. New members, thank you for subscribing and following the channel, and for the likes. And if you have any questions regarding this deck, please comment down below, so that I can answer them, or I can get the answers for you. And Thanks. If you like the video and the deck, even if you like the deck, please give a thumbs up to this video, share if you think somebody else might be interested, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, for more content of this sort and more videos which can help you a lot if you're looking for content which for self improvement and stuff like that. Okay, thank you so much, and catch you soon in another video.